Have you ever felt like there is a gigantic, invisible target painted on your back? Have you ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere shift, not because you did anything wrong, but simply because you were there? You try to live a quiet life. You try to do the right thing, yet conflict seems to find you. Betrayal seems to find you. Resistance seems to be the only constant companion you have known for years. You look around at others, and their lives seem so simple, so linear. They make a plan and it happens. They make friends and they stay. But for you, every step forward feels like a battle against a hurricane. If this resonates with your spirit, if your soul is nodding while your mind is tired, then you need to understand something very profound right now. You are not cursed. You are not unlucky. You are not weird. You are chosen. And because you are chosen, the enemy has tried everything in his power to stop you. He has tried to break your mind. He has tried to steal your joy, and he has tried to derail your destiny. But here is the truth that overrides every single attack you have ever faced. The enemy tried, but God had already decided. There is a decision that was made about your life before there was breath in your lungs. Before you made your first mistake, before you had your first success, before you faced your first trauma, God had already written the final chapter of your story. The reason your life has been so difficult is not because God has forgotten you. It is because the enemy recognized you. You see, in the spiritual realm, there is a distinct difference between a person who is simply living and a person who is marked for a kingdom assignment. The enemy does not waste his ammunition on empty targets. If you were empty, he would ignore you. If you had no potential, he would leave you alone to drift. The fact that you have faced such intense opposition is actually the greatest evidence of the magnitude of your calling. The size of the battle always indicates the size of the blessing. Think about the patterns in your life. Have you noticed that whenever you get close to a breakthrough, all hell breaks loose? Have you noticed that people who should have loved you turned on you for reasons that make no sense? This is not accidental. This is strategic. The enemy tries to abort the destiny of the chosen ones while they are still in the seed form. He tried it with Moses. He tried it with Jesus, and he has been trying it with you. But there is a mystery here, a spiritual dynamic that once you understand it, will change the way you view your past and your future. It is the realization that the enemy's attacks are actually used by God to prepare you for the very thing the enemy is trying to keep you from. Consider the life of Joseph. Here was a young man, a chosen vessel marked by a dream. God showed him a glimpse of his future, a future of leadership, of provision, of authority. But notice what happened immediately after the revelation of the dream. His life didn't get better, it got infinitely worse. The enemy, working through the jealousy of his brothers, tried to kill him. They threw him into a pit. They sold him into slavery. He was falsely accused. He was thrown into prison. If you looked at Joseph's life during those years, it looked like the enemy was winning. It looked like the dream was a lie. It looked like God had abandoned him. The enemy tried to crush Joseph's spirit through betrayal. The enemy tried to rot Joseph's potential in a dungeon. But God had already decided. God had decided that Joseph would save nations, and because God had decided, the pit became a protection. The slavery became a school of management. The prison became the networking ground that led to the palace. The enemy thought he was burying Joseph, but he didn't realize that Joseph was a seed. And when you bury a seed, you don't kill it, you activate it. You need to look at your own life through this lens. The rejection you faced, it was God hiding you from people who would have used you before you were ready. The isolation you feel right now, it is God setting you apart to consecrate you, to teach you to hear his voice above the noise of the crowd. The enemy tried to use isolation to make you lonely. God is using isolation to make you powerful. But why does it take so long? This is the question that haunts the chosen ones. Lord, if you have decided, why am I still waiting? Why is the night so long? It is here that we must understand the nature of the process. Being chosen is an event. Becoming the chosen one is a journey. God decides the destination instantly, but he develops the character slowly. The enemy knows this. The enemy knows that if he can get you to give up during the process, you will never reach the promise. That is his primary tactic, weariness. He wants to wear you out. He wants you to get so tired of fighting, so tired of believing, that you simply lay down your sword and accept a life of mediocrity. He whispers to you in the middle of the night. He says it's never going to happen. He says you're too old now. He says you've made too many mistakes. He highlights your flaws and hides your victories. He tries to rewrite your history to look like a series of failures rather than a series of lessons. But you have to realize that the enemy is a liar, but more specifically, he is a counterfeiter. He cannot create, he can only distort. The reason he attacks your identity is that he knows your identity is your greatest weapon. If you know who you are, you become dangerous to his kingdom. If you realize that you are a child of the Most High, authorized by heaven and backed by the armies of God, you will stop begging for scraps and start taking territory. Let's go deeper into this. There is a specific type of warfare that chosen ones face, and it often comes through those closest to them. This is the most painful part. It is the Judas kiss. It is the betrayal by those you trusted, those you helped, those you prayed for. When this happens, it can shatter your heart. You ask God, why did you let them hurt me? But remember, the enemy tried to use Judas to destroy Jesus. He thought that by orchestrating the betrayal, he was stopping the Messiah. But what the enemy didn't understand was that the betrayal was the catalyst for the cross, and the cross was the catalyst for the resurrection. The enemy played right into God's hand. The people who left you, they had to leave. Their part in your story was over. If they had stayed, they would have capped your growth. They were scaffolding, not the foundation. The enemy tried to use their departure to break your trust in people, but God is using it to build your total dependence on him. God had already decided that your future was too heavy for them to carry. He removed them to protect your destiny. This is where the shift happens. The shift from victim to victor. It happens when you stop looking at what the enemy did and start looking at what God is doing. The enemy tried to shame you with your past. He brings up your old sins, your old habits, your moments of weakness. He tries to present a case against you in the court of your own mind, but God already decided. The verdict was rendered at Calvary. Not guilty. When the enemy points at your scars, God points at the blood of Jesus. The enemy tried to disqualify you, but God's grace has already qualified you. And the amazing thing about God's economy is that he doesn't just forgive your past, he uses it. Think about Paul the apostle. He was a murderer. He persecuted the church. The enemy used him as a weapon of terror. But when God got a hold of him, God didn't just wipe his memory. God used Paul's intensity, his knowledge of the law, and his aggressive nature, and turned it toward the gospel. The very traits the enemy used for evil, God sanctified for good. Your stubbornness, God will turn it into holy perseverance. Your sensitivity, God will turn it into prophetic discernment. Your anger at injustice, God will turn it into a passion for deliverance. The enemy tried to corrupt your gifts, but God had already decided to sanctify them. Now, let's address the season you might be in right now. The wilderness. The wilderness is the training ground of the chosen. It is that dry, lonely place where nothing seems to grow. It is the place between the promise given and the promise fulfilled. In the wilderness, the enemy tries to tempt you. Just like he tempted Jesus in the desert, he tries to get you to compromise. He offers you shortcuts. Bow down to me, the enemy says, and I will give you the kingdoms of the world. He offers you success without character. He offers you fame without integrity. He offers you a way out of the pain if only you will lower your standards. He says, why struggle? Just be like everyone else. Just blend in, compromise a little bit. But you can't. You have tried, haven't you? You have tried to just be normal, but it doesn't work. Your spirit is agitated by compromise. That is the mark of God on you. You cannot enjoy sin like you used to. You cannot enjoy shallow conversations like you used to. You are ruined for the ordinary because you are marked for the extraordinary. The enemy tries to make you feel like this inability to fit in is a social defect. But God decided that you would be a peculiar people, a royal priesthood. You are not supposed to fit in. You are supposed to stand out. You are the light, and light does not blend with darkness. It dispels it. The wilderness is not a punishment. It is a preparation. It is where you learn that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. It is where you learn that your resource is not your job, your bank account, or your network. Your resource is Jehovah Jireh, and it is usually right at the end of the wilderness season, right at the edge of the promised land, that the enemy launches his fiercest attack. It is called the spirit of discouragement. It is a heavy, dark cloud that settles over you. It makes you want to sleep all day. It makes you feel numb. It whispers, "It's over, you missed it, God lied." This is a critical moment. If you are feeling this heaviness right now, listen closely. This is a sign that you are at the threshold. The enemy does not guard an empty vault. He guards the treasure. The intensity of the discouragement is a barometer for the proximity of the breakthrough. He is trying to get you to turn back when you are 3 feet from gold. But God already decided. God decided that the walls of Jericho would fall not by human might, but by the shout of faith. God decided that the Red Sea would part not by a bridge, but by a miracle. God has already decided the method of your deliverance, and it will likely be something you never saw coming. You have been trying to figure it out with your logic. You have been playing out scenarios A, B, and C, but God operates in the realm of the impossible. He creates doors where there were only walls. The enemy tries to trap you in the realm of logic, where the odds are against you. But God invites you into the realm of faith, where one with God is a majority. There is a peace that comes when you truly accept that God already decided. It takes the pressure off. You don't have to manipulate outcomes. You don't have to force doors open. You don't have to convince people to like you. If God has decided a door is for you, no man on earth and no demon in hell can shut it. And if God has decided a door is closed, no amount of banging on it will open it. And thank God for that. The enemy tried to give you the wrong things. He tried to give you relationships that would have destroyed you, jobs that would have consumed you, success that would have corrupted you. God blocked them. At the time you cried, you were frustrated, you thought God was withholding good from you. But in hindsight, you will see that God was blocking the enemy's traps. God's no is often a greater mercy than his yes. As you walk this path of the chosen one, you must also understand the responsibility that comes with it. The enemy tries to make you self-centered. He wants you to focus entirely on your pain, your struggle, your victimhood. He wants you to become bitter. A bitter chosen one is ineffective, but God decided that your pain would become a platform. The very things you have suffered are the things you will have authority over. If you have suffered from depression and survived, you carry an authority to break the spirit of heaviness off others. If you have suffered poverty and survived, you carry an authority to break the spirit of lack. The enemy tried to break you, but he only succeeded in making you a breaker. You are becoming a chain breaker for your lineage. Think about your family line. Look at the cycles of dysfunction, addiction, divorce, and poverty. The enemy has had a stronghold in your bloodline for generations. He thought you would be just another link in the chain. He thought you would repeat the sins of your fathers. But then you showed up, the chosen one, the anomaly, the one who said, "It ends with me." The enemy panicked when you were born. That's why your childhood was turbulent. That's why you felt that warfare from a young age. He knew that you carried the DNA of a cycle breaker. He tried to crush you early so you wouldn't grow up to challenge his territory. But God already decided. God decided that the curse stops with you and the blessing starts with you. You are the pivot point of your family history. It is a heavy burden, yes. It is unfair that you have to fight battles you didn't start, but it is an honor that God trusted you with the assignment of rewriting the future for your children and your children's children. And because the assignment is so great, the protection is so great. You may feel vulnerable, but you are not. You are surrounded. Scripture says that the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him. You are not fighting alone. The enemy tries to induce fear by roaring like a lion, but he is a toothless lion. He relies on illusion. He relies on your agreement. He needs you to agree with his lies for them to have power. But what happens when you agree with God's decision? When you wake up in the morning and say, "Father, I know the enemy is trying to attack my health, my finances, and my mind, but I know you have already decided that I am the head and not the tail. I know you have already decided that by your stripes I am healed. I know you have already decided that my cup runs over. When you align your confession with God's decision, the atmosphere changes. The enemy cannot stand in the presence of faith. He is allergic to truth. Let's talk about the delay. The enemy loves to use time as a weapon. He mocks you as the years go by. Look at you, he says. Another year gone, and you're still in the same place. He tries to make you feel like you are running out of time, but God lives outside of time. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He can do in one day what it takes men 10 years to do. We call this acceleration. When the time is right, God accelerates the process. The enemy tried to steal your years. He tried to eat up your time with distractions, with depression, with wrong turns, and you grieve those lost years. You think, I've wasted so much time. But God has a promise for that too. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Think about that. God doesn't just fix the future, He redeems the past. He can make the remaining years of your life so fruitful, so impactful, that they outweigh all the years of struggle. The enemy tried to subtract from your life, but God is the God of multiplication. You might be looking at your current situation and seeing only wreckage. Maybe a relationship just ended. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you are facing a health crisis. The enemy is dancing on the ashes, thinking he has won. But God is a specialist in resurrection. He does His best work in graveyards. When things look dead, that is when God steps in, so that no man can take the glory. If you could fix it yourself, you would get the credit. But when it is impossible, God gets the glory. The enemy tried to bury you, but he planted you. So, how do you walk this out practically? How do you live as a chosen one when the attacks are flying? First, you must guard your ear gate and your eye gate. The enemy tries to plant seeds of doubt through what you watch and listen to. He tries to influence you through the negative words of others. You must become ruthless about what you allow into your spirit. You cannot afford to entertain gossip, fear-mongering, or negativity. You are a high-performance spiritual vehicle. You cannot run on cheap fuel. Second, you must learn the power of praise in the midst of the storm. The enemy expects you to complain. He expects you to cry. But when you praise God while you are still in pain, you confuse the enemy. He doesn't know what to do with a believer who worships in the dark. Paul and Silas were in prison, beaten and bound. The enemy tried to silence them, but at midnight they sang, and their song shook the foundations of the prison. Your praise is a weapon. It is an act of war. It declares that your circumstances do not dictate your joy. God has already decided you are victorious, so you praise from a place of victory, not for a place of victory. Third, you must stay in the place of prayer. Not just asking for things, but listening. The enemy tries to keep you so busy, so distracted, that you don't have time to sit at the feet of Jesus. He knows that in the presence of God, you gain strategy. He wants you fighting blind, but God wants to give you the blueprints. There is a calmness that is coming to you. Can you feel it? It is the calmness of assurance. It is the deep knowing that the war has already been won. The battles you face today are just skirmishes in a war that was decided before the foundation of the world. The enemy tried to instill anxiety, but God has ordained peace. The enemy tried to bring confusion, but God has promised clarity. You are coming into a season of clarity. The fog is lifting. You are going to look back at the last few years and see the invisible hand of God weaving everything together. You will see how the closed doors steered you. You will see how the losses lightened your load so you could run faster. You will see that the enemy was actually a pawn in God's grand design. Do not fear the shadows. Shadows only exist because there is a light shining. The darker the shadow, the brighter the light. The intensity of the attack against you is proof of the brightness of the glory upon you. You are the chosen of the Lord, hand-picked, set apart, loved with an everlasting love. The enemy tried to make you think you were unlovable. He whispered that you were too broken, too damaged. But God looks at you and sees His masterpiece. He sees the image of His Son. He sees a warrior. He sees a king. He sees a priest. So lift up your head. Shake off the dust of the past. Stop analyzing the dust of the pit and start looking toward the palace. The time of weeping is ending. The time of joy is coming. The enemy tried to break you. The enemy tried to stop you. The enemy tried to kill you, but God Those two words change everything, but God had already decided. He decided you would live. He decided you would thrive. He decided you would overcome. Stand firm in that decision. Let it be the anchor for your soul. When the winds blow, hold on to that anchor. God has decided, and what God has decided, no power can annul. You are walking into your destiny. The resistance is breaking. The dawn is breaking. You are not a victim of the enemy's plot. You are a victor in God's plan. Walk in that truth today. Walk with your head high, not in arrogance, but in holy confidence. The Creator of the universe has your back. The script is written. The ending is good. You win. Let that sink deep into your spirit. You win, because God already decided. Now, as you digest this truth, I want you to take a moment to reflect on the specific battles you are facing right now. Name them in your mind. Is it financial? Is it relational? Is it internal? Now visualize placing a stamp over each of those battles, and on that stamp it says, "Overruled by God." The enemy's lawsuit against you is overruled. The enemy's prognosis is overruled. There is a shifting in the spiritual atmosphere for many who are listening to this. Chains are falling off. There is a spirit of heaviness that is lifting, being replaced by a garment of praise. You are entering a season of restitution. The thief has been caught, and when the thief is caught, he must pay back sevenfold. The enemy has been caught in your life. Your discernment has caught him. You have realized his tricks. You are no longer ignorant of his devices. And because you have caught him, he must pay back. Expect restoration. Expect recovery. Expect to get back your joy, your peace, your passion, and your dreams. The dream is not dead. It was just dormant. It was winter, but spring is here. Remember, the chosen ones are often the late bloomers, but the flowers that bloom late are often the most rare and the most beautiful. Don't compare your season to someone else's. Your timeline is custom-made by God. The enemy tried to make you envious of others, but if you knew the weight they carried, you wouldn't want their life. And if they knew the glory you carry, they would understand why you have been through the fire. Gold must go through the fire to be purified. You are gold. The enemy tried to burn you up, but God used the fire to burn off the impurities. You are coming out as pure gold. So rest. Rest in the finished work. Rest in the decision of the Almighty. You don't have to fight for victory. You fight from victory. The enemy tried, but God already decided, and God's decision stands forever. If this message has touched your spirit, if you feel a renewed strength rising up within you, hold on to it. Don't let the birds of the air steal the seed that has been planted. Water it with prayer. Protect it with faith. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are victorious. Go in peace, knowing that the battle is the Lord's and the outcome is already secured.